To open up this video, I wanted to express some big, deep gratitude. Because when I started making YouTube videos about the Vancouver Canucks full-time, and I'm only saying full-time because that's when I started doing it like daily pretty much, that was the 2017-18 season. You know, we had made videos about the Vancouver Canucks before 2017-18. We had talked about the 2016 draft, and we had talked about the Luongo trade. Lots of Canucks stuff over this YouTube channel's history, which is not surprising because I'm from the area. But it wasn't until 2017-18 that we started doing this pretty much every day. And from that point until now, there is only one Vancouver Canucks player that has remained since then. No, it wasn't the captain Bo Horvat. No, it wasn't the shutdown defenseman Chris Tanev. No, it wasn't even Jacob Markstrom. The only Vancouver Canuck from 2017-18 that is still on the roster today was a rookie back in that time frame. We made videos about him winning the Calder. We made videos about him scoring goals like crazy. We made videos endlessly about the greatness that was Brock Boeser. And as the years continued for Brock in his career, he went through a lot of ups and downs, both on and off the ice. It was very well documented in the Vancouver media. Boeser's struggles in terms of his goal production and some of the external stuff that his family had to unfortunately deal with. But in 2023-2024, we finally saw Brock Boeser play the best version of his game, because he had scored a career-high 73 points and 40 goals in 81 games played. Add on to this 12 points and 7 goals in 12 playoff games, including an absolutely fantastic hat-trick against the Nashville Predators, including a multi-goal game against the Edmonton Oilers. Brock Boeser was just a monster this previous season. And the crazy part is, if you took a time machine and you told 2017-18 grade 12 senior year Lego Rocks, hey, Brock Boeser would get 40 goals in 2023-2024, but he wouldn't really look like a sniper, per se. I would have called you nuts back then. Wait a minute, are you kidding? Brock Boeser in his rookie year was sniping pucks like crazy. He was an on-the-rush sniper, and that's how he had produced the majority of his goals. When it wasn't on the rush, he was parking himself out in front, one-timing bombs on goal, or locking and loading, beating goaltenders up high. Brock Boeser had a goal-scoring snipe that defined his game. But in the 40-goal sample that he had had this previous season, he wasn't really that sniper. He was more so a right place, right time kind of guy. He would have some really nice dangles in tight to get around goaltenders. He would put in rebounds. He would be in the right spots. And sure, he would score really nice snipes once in a while, but it definitely wasn't to the same magnitude when he almost had 30 goals in his 2017-18 rookie year. Brock Boeser was a different animal in this previous season, but his contract is expiring at the end of next year. $6.65 million a year till the end of 24-25. His current contract was a 3-year deal itself, so this was a bridge deal signed back in 2022. Boeser was betting on himself. The bet wasn't really looking all too great at the beginning because the 2022-23 season was riddled with trade rumors and turmoil for Brock, but the year after, he exploded in a very good way. So, building off of this momentum, 40 goals in the regular season, point-per-game guy in the playoffs, clutch player, hat-trick guy, helped the Canucks come back in Game 4 against Nashville. What is the dollar amount projection for Boeser heading into his next contract with the Vancouver Canucks? You see, if he goes out there and gets yet another 40-goal season, a 70-80 point season, then Brock Boeser is going to be making a lot of money. That much is for sure. So let's go over onto a tweet made by Hughes is the GOAT, Hughes for Norris, because what they did was they took a look at some of the AFP analytics numbers and gave us some insight as to what this analytical model is saying these Canucks players can get. Here are some notable Canucks extension projections from AFP. Brock Boeser's projected next contract is 7 years, $8.62 million a year. Höglander is 2 years, $2.52 million. Pia Suter is 4 years, $3.29 million. and Noah Juleson is at 2 years, $1.06 million. Now, the thing is, some of these contracts are a little bit, off? I don't know, Pius Suter making $3.29 a year for 4 years seems like a lot of money. Niels Höglander making $2.52 for 2 years seems like too little amount of money. But then Brock Boeser making $8.62 is one of these deals where it's like, okay, the Vancouver Canucks would be going all in with this guy if they did that. The interesting thing about it is, Brock Boeser is 27 years old right now. He'll be 28 by the time the next contract he signs will begin. If you wanted to do comparisons, I mean, JT Miller was pretty much a year or two older than Brock when that $8 million a season extension for him kicked in. And we all recognize now JT Miller is a 99-point caliber guy. He had 100 points in a season this previous year, and he's looking pretty good. Of course, they play very different games, and Brock Boeser kind of worked his way up to here. JT had to work his way up to 99, and then he kind of declined a little bit, and then he went back up to 100 points. So the timeline for him is a little bit non-linear. For Brock, though, it has been sort of all over the place up until this previous season where he absolutely exploded. And if you wanted to talk about that dollar amount, is it worth it to have Brock Boeser as the most paid non-Pettersson forward on the team? Honestly, you could say that Miller is probably the guy that deserves that title the most, at least at this point in their careers, but obviously Miller signing his contract 2 seasons ago, or not 2 seasons ago, just 2 years ago pretty much, and having that contract go through the ringer as a good deal, a bad deal, whatever, now it's like, okay, it's pretty okay for a guy getting 100 points a year to be making $8 million a year flat, not to mention the fact that Quinn Hughes is making 7.8 on the back end, and he had himself a Norris-caliber season 90-point defenseman as well. There's a lot of extra dough to go around when you consider how Vancouver isn't really overpaying anybody. With the exception, you could say, of Elias Pettersson, who's making 11 point something million. He's a lot younger, though, so there's a benefit of the doubt there. He also had a 100-point season at a younger age than JT did, so you could really say that there's a lot of potential for Petey to grow even more. So for Brock, 8.6 honestly is not that bad, especially when you consider the percentage of the cap and how it's all going up. When JT Miller signed his $8 million extension, the cap was a lot lower than what it's going to be when Boeser's 25-26 year kicks in. So ultimately, this is a deal that I kind of like, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Brock Boeser projected $8.6 million AAV extension that AFP Analytics has on their model? Is this a dollar amount that's a little bit too high? Would you rather say, hey Brock, sorry, you're not making more money than JT Miller. That's it, period. He's a 100-point caliber guy. Put yourself in that echelon of importance by matching a 100-point caliber center, and then we'll talk about $8+ million. Or do you consider all the cap implications? Do you consider the age? Do you think about how Boeser is more so the pairing of JT Miller and be like, yeah, if Miller's making 8, who's a lot older, then Boeser making 8.6 at a later date and a lower-ish cap percentage should be appropriate. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Canucks and these contract ideas. I mean, you could also talk about the Höglander, Suter, and Noah Juleson extensions as well, but I didn't really want to focus on those in this video. But either way, the comment section is your floor. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.